Metabolism gets blamed for almost everything after 40: weight gain, low energy, slower recovery, and the feeling that effort no longer pays off. Most people assume metabolism simply shuts down with age. That fat gain becomes unavoidable. That energy loss is permanent. But that belief is misleading, and it leads people to fight their own bodies instead of supporting them. Aging does affect metabolism, but not in the dramatic way most people believe. What really changes is how the body responds to movement, muscle, nutrition, and recovery. When those supports weaken, metabolism looks like the problem. It isn't. Metabolism doesn't fail because of age alone. It adapts to how the body is used. Basal metabolic rate does decline gradually with age, but the drop is relatively small. What makes the change noticeable is muscle loss. Muscle tissue is metabolically active. It burns energy even at rest. When muscle decreases, daily calorie burn drops, even if body weight stays the same. That creates the illusion that metabolism suddenly slowed. At the same time, daily movement often decreases. Fewer steps, less lifting, more sitting. Total energy expenditure falls far more from reduced activity than from aging itself. Metabolism responds to demand, not birthdays. When demand drops, energy needs drop with it. Hormonal shifts do influence metabolism, but again, they respond to context. Insulin sensitivity often declines when muscle mass drops and activity decreases, making it easier to store energy as fat. Stress hormones like cortisol rise with poor sleep, chronic pressure, or overtraining. These changes affect how calories are partitioned, toward muscle or toward fat, even when total intake doesn't change. Digestion and appetite signaling can shift as well. Protein becomes less efficiently utilized. Hunger cues become less reliable. Some people undereat and slow metabolism further. Others rely on highly processed foods that disrupt blood sugar regulation. The result isn't a broken system. It's a system reacting to mixed signals. Doctors rarely say, "Fix your metabolism." Instead, they address its drivers: blood sugar control, muscle retention, recovery, and movement. And when you look at what consistently improves metabolic health, the advice is surprisingly simple: preserve and rebuild muscle. Muscle stabilizes blood sugar, increases resting energy use, and improves energy regulation. It's the anchor of metabolic health as people age. That's why strength training shows up again and again in medical recommendations, not as a fitness trend, but as a metabolic intervention. Resistance training sends a clear signal that muscle is still needed. Even 2 to 3 sessions per week can significantly improve metabolic resilience over time. Unlike cardio, strength training directly counters the muscle loss that drives metabolic slowdown. This doesn't require extreme workouts. It requires consistency and progression that respects recovery. When muscle is protected, metabolism becomes far more forgiving. Protein intake becomes more important with age, not less. Older adults require more protein to stimulate muscle repair and growth. Spreading protein evenly across meals improves utilization and supports metabolic function. Aggressive calorie restriction does the opposite. It signals scarcity, slows thyroid activity, increases fatigue, and accelerates muscle loss. Doctors increasingly caution against chronic dieting in adults over 40, not because weight doesn't matter, but because muscle matters more. Sleep is a metabolic regulator. Poor sleep disrupts appetite hormones, reduces insulin sensitivity, and increases cravings. Improving sleep quality often improves metabolic health even without dietary changes. Chronic stress has a similar effect. Elevated cortisol promotes fat storage and muscle breakdown. That's why stress management shows up in metabolic care plans, not as lifestyle fluff, but as physiology. Daily movement outside the gym matters too. Walking, standing, carrying, and changing positions increase energy expenditure without adding recovery cost. Doctors refer to this as non-exercise activity, and it quietly drives metabolic health. The biggest mistake people make is fighting metabolism with restriction instead of supporting it with structure. When the body feels threatened, it conserves energy. When it feels supported, it adapts upward. Metabolism becomes more sensitive with age, not broken. That sensitivity can work for or against you. Small habits matter more, not less. Metabolism isn't lost with age. It's reshaped. Protect muscle. Move consistently. Eat enough to support recovery. Sleep well. Manage stress. When those pieces align, metabolism becomes resilient again. Energy improves. Weight stabilizes. Effort starts to pay off. Aging changes the rules, but it doesn't eliminate progress. Metabolism after 40 isn't something to fight. It's something to support, and when supported correctly, it continues to work efficiently for decades.